Aloha, you are listening to the Rolling Vets podcast, a podcast by veterans, for veterans, and civilians alike. I am Lucas Moss, your co-host, and I am flanked by my Marine veteran peers, Aaron Pata and Chris Ellis. We would like to extend an invitation to you, the listener, to journey inside of our realm to discover what it means to be a rolling vet. So here it is, episode 1. Before we get started, I definitely want to send out some shout outs to some people who helped us along the way. First being my buddy Gooch, who runs Delco Nerd Network. He was very insightful on how to get this thing started for me. And then also my buddy David Schulman down in Tallahassee, who put us in touch with a woman named Morgan, who helped us out tremendously with the logo, and she did a great job. So shout out to those people, and shout out to all our friends and family who have been really excited about this. It's been a long time coming, I think. And we're finally here, and we're finally here in episode 1. Congratulations to all of you fuckers in the Marine Corps who can finally get sleeve tattoos now. Like, that is a big deal. It's awesome. Hopefully it leads to a lot more retention. Who knows? You know, but you can't stop the bullshit. You can allow tattoos, but you can't stop the bullshit. That's for sure. Other than that, by the time this thing airs, it'll be the Marine Corps birthday. So happy fucking birthday to all the Marines out there. Semper Fidelis.
Happy fucking birthday, Marines.
Yep.
There
and then the
go.
following day is Veterans Day. So shout out to all the vets. This podcast is for you. It's for your friends, for your family, all the people who don't understand you. We're here. We understand you. So yeah, we get the ball rolling here. Episode 1, phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah. So I am going to start off with some Cherry Chem from District Cannabis. It's a DC brand. Get it? DC District Cannabis. And that is wrapped in some Hubba Bubba high hemp. I use only organic wraps. I don't like using like blunt wraps anymore. I'm like,
you're going all out for this episode, dude.
Yeah. Have to, bro. I have to. What do you guys, Chris, we'll start off with you. What are you smoking anything today?
Not right now, but I got some Mio right here.
Okay, some Mio. That's some hardcore shit, you know. What about you, Aaron? Wherever you ran off to? He's got a bottle or something?
He's pulling out a bottle.
I am drinking, I'm breaking up the Johnny Walker. Got the Johnny Walker Gold, a nice little cup to put it in. There we go. Just another drinking day.
All right, another drinking day. Yeah. Aaron is our drinking vet. He's our. So.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that at all, man. Especially since you say you get up better in the morning after alcohol.
Yeah, like it's really weird. Like for whatever reason, I've got like this biological clock. Like after a long night of drinking, they're just like, no, you have to get up. And I'll get up at like 5 or 6 in the morning. And we're like, okay, here we go. Guess it's time to start the day. So
yeah, it's fucking habits that we carried over, which brings us to the topic of the day. So Marine Corps birthday, Veterans Day. Let's go back to square one, where it all fucking started. The moments that led up to each and every one of us walking in to the recruiting office. Aaron, you were in Michigan at the time, correct?
Yeah. So I stepped out of Michigan right after high school. It was like a couple months after high school.
And that was kind of always your goal, like through high school. You're like, I'm going to join the military, or
no, actually, it was one of those things where my family hated it, super against it, because they're like, oh, we didn't come to America for our kid to join the military, right? And like Indian background, like it's like recently going to India, like I understand why now. It's the military is kind of like not as highly looked upon as it is here in America. Like it's kind of like, hey, these are the guys that, you know, lift this heavy shit over here. Like do this for, like they're not treated as like the doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, like that, everything that Indian parents are always like, hey, go do this, you know?
Yeah, they don't see it as
So
like a way up the social ladder, like changing your
exactly.
social classes.
And so it's seen as like a step below, right? Um, so they really didn't want me to join the military, and I don't know, but like coming out here, seeing the difference because I was raised in India for a little bit, and so like seeing the difference between like the cultures and just like the general government, I was like, dude, I have to get back, you know. So I was like, okay, who's the hardest branch? Not gonna lie, I might have been semi seduced by the uniforms.
Yeah, the uniforms I think got us all.
I think so. And after that, I was like, okay, well, what's the job that's the farthest from what I intend on doing for the rest of my life? So I was like, okay, well, I can work in an office whenever. So let me join the infantry. And my recruiter, prior infantryman, tried to talk me out of it. I can't say I was tricked by my recruiter because he was super open with me. Like, hey, motherfucker, like, no, it sucks. Don't do it. And it came down to my dumbass saying, okay, listen, like, either I'm going infantry here or I'm joining the fucking army. And he's like, okay, I'll give you what you want. Here you go. And that was that.
Laid out your fucking terms.
Yeah.
And I know I did Boy Scouts growing up, and that was like my first taste of like, I wouldn't say obviously not taste of like the military, but something that's just kind of like structured that way. Like the uniforms were really appealing. And I was like, oh, you get to do outdoor stuff.
Were they
Fucking
though?
what's up?
Were they though?
What do you mean? Were they in what regard?
I saw the movie Up, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like Cub Scouts. And it worked out because my dad's a veteran. And he was my scoutmaster, so he was like in charge of everyone. Like planning all this like training and planning all the like the camping trips and events and all that stuff, like basically fell on his shoulders. And I've always like growing up, like always admired like the fact that my dad would like served. And like I loved the Boy Scouts because I got to do like a lot of cool shit. I was like a highly motivated kid. Like we would go on like on trails and stuff and like do hikes and whatnot. And I'd like pack my fucking shit up like heavy as fuck. Like and later in life, like I'm like, man, I want my pack to be light as fuck. But like back then, like, I'm packing my shit. But yeah, I don't think any of us did like ROTC or anything like that. And it's funny because a lot of those kids that did like JROTC, my high school and all that stuff, and people that I knew, like they never joined. Like they never, like they did all this like military stuff. They have a fucking chesty polar stack by the time they graduate high school, and like none of them fucking joined like the military. But I was I was kind of pressured to playing college football. Like D3, D2, nothing crazy. I wasn't like some fucking insane player, probably would have made just like a mediocre guy on the team. But then I just kind of like fell out of love with football for a little bit. And then graduation came and I didn't really have a plan. I was like, oh, I'll just go to Penn State. Like almost everyone I know goes to Penn State or Temple or Westchester University. And so I enrolled and I was accepted and all that stuff. And I was like, had all my classes picked, went to the student orientation. And it wasn't until we got like that first bill that was like, oh, this is how much you're going to owe for a semester. And I was like, what the fuck? And my dad was like, what the fuck? And my dad's like, I'm not paying shit. Like, this is on you. And I was like, you're telling me this after I already enrolled and got my classes. So I was like, well, I can't afford to do this. And I don't want to go to community college because everyone keeps telling me that it's like another year high school that everyone goes to pretty much. And then I saw like the kids that like my peers in the community and like what they were doing, the ones that didn't go to college. And I'm like, oh, like I don't want to I don't want to be a part of like that. I don't want to be looked at as like a scumbag. But I always admired like the Marine Corps, like growing up. Like my mom was all about like, yeah, if you go to the military, like join the Marines, like all this stuff. And I was like really gung ho about it. But in high school, I was just like totally out of sight, out of mind. Like I didn't even think about it. If I was going to do it, I was going to do it after college. But now like it came down to like, well, I can't do school. I'm working as a cashier at giant food stores. Like, I'm fucking going on 19 years old. I have nothing to do. Like I'm literally just going to the gym every day, smoking weed, drinking beer, and like fucking repeat, like, and going to work and repeating. Like And then like after I dropped out, and that same day I was like, I'm gonna go to the recruiter's office. And that same day I dropped out, I drove to the recruiter's office, and I was like, sign me the fuck up. I was like, I am not. Just send me as quickly as possible. I want to get this shit started, and I don't want to have like time to second guess myself.
It
in this
came on quick
impulsive
for you.
decision.
It was like,
Yeah,
done
yeah.
with this. I'm going and doing this now.
Yeah, it was very quick because I knew like I couldn't I didn't want to get stuck in like some rift. I didn't want to get stuck in some like vicious cycle of just bullshit. So I decided to that day to really like commit myself to doing something and getting in. And it was a fucking tedious process, dude. It took me 9 months because of like tattoo waivers. That shit was not fun.
Yeah, I had to go tattoo waivers too. That shit sucked.
How long did yours take?
Let me think. Pretty fast. They fast tracked my ass in there because I like walked in there and fucking was good at PT and shit. And they're like, "You want to join?" Like how I joined was kind of weird. I was going through like some shit towards when that one chick split up, and I always wanted to be in the military. I always wanted to join the Marine Corps. I had a buddy I worked at the factory with, and he was like, "Hey man, come to the recruiter's office with me." I was like, "All right, I'll fucking do it." So I go there. I'm like, whatever, I want to PT with the Marines. Marines are fucking cool, whatever. So I get there and we go through the PT for the day and shit. And after everybody leaves and shit, he's like, "Hey, you can stay around and talk to me." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And we sat down. He's like, "Do you want to join?" And I was like, "Yeah."
So he pulled out the little fucking placards for you to like, oh, what are your top 5? Like, what the fuck did you want to get into?
Yeah, all that shit. But yeah, it was pretty simple. He's like, "You want to join?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we just went through the fucking process. I came in with this tattoo that showed there and here.
Yeah.
So
my
the uniform.
Yeah, my chest one was the one that showed in the uniform, and I was like, this is stupid shit because the uniform policy at that time was like you don't wear like your service uniforms without a white shirt underneath. Like you can't just go bare chested. But yet they were making me go bare chested, like underneath the chucks, and like the tattoo was showing. I was like, well, what does it fucking matter? If the shirt's gonna cover it anyways, like what does it fucking matter? And it was like still like a big deal. It took me 9 months. Nine fucking months, dude. I like was so close.
Mine.
Yeah, I was so close. I had to go to MEPS like 7 times, bro. Like it was insane.
Wow.
Yeah. But it came down to like where I was like, man, fuck this. I was like, fuck the Marines. Like they're really like fucking with me already, and I haven't even got in yet. Like that was my mentality. And I was like, there was an Army recruiter next door, but I was like, man, fuck it. I don't want to do that. I was thinking of like, if anything, like I'll go Navy, but I want to be like Greenside Navy corpsman. Like that was going to be my backup. Like I was like, if I can't be Marine, I want to be the closest thing that you got to like, to make me a Marine, like basically. So.
All right. So what about this then? When you first got to boot camp, when was the first time you said to yourself, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Oh, bro, I probably the first fucking day, dude.
On that mine was stepping off.
Mine was on the bus to get haircuts when they all put us like jammed us in the center, like when we were all filled up. We put our heads down like this, and somebody looked up, and one of the guys was like, "Don't fucking look up," and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here, man?"
Mine was, so my experience was very anticlimactic. My entire boot camp experience very anticlimactic. I got to the airport. So I actually got like a day's notice. I got called, and I was supposed to leave in like 2 weeks or a week or something like that. And my recruiter was like, "Hey, like, what are you doing?" I was like, I'm actually like packing up my room, because like, I'm leaving in a couple weeks. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And he was like, "Because I kind of need you to leave tonight." I was like, "What, bitch?" I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he was like, "Nah, like I need you to leave tonight." And I was like, "Shit, whatever. Like, bet. Like, I'll go." And let my dad know. And then my dad like made like steak and mac and cheese. It was probably one of my favorite meals, if not my favorite meal ever. And my recruiter came by, picked me up, took me to the airport. I flew down. That next day, so I'm at the airport where they're collecting all the little fucking dumbass poolies and recruits and shit, right? And so I get up when like the bus comes, you know, we're all gonna get on the bus. Fuck no, dude. There's like two corporals that are like a part of it. And one of the corporals like, no, you're staying, stack all the chairs. So I didn't even get on the bus. So I had to like stack the chairs. It was like me and like four other guys. And then finally, like they're like, oh, we're leaving now. And it's them. It's both corporals. I don't even know who the fuck they are. It's a male and a female. And they had a van, like a duty van. And they're like, hop in the van. So I'm in a van driving to fucking Paris Island. You know how it's supposed to be like silent and all this shit?
Yeah.
No, they were blasting music and stuff. And until almost we got up to the doors, dude. Like blasting music. And they're just talking shit to us. Like, hey, like you guys, like, don't even worry about it. Like, it's not that bad. Like all this shit. And so I get there and so they turn the music off, they pull up and like, you know, the big silver doors. I'm not sure how it is in San Diego, Aaron, but yeah, and then you have the yellow footprints right outside the big silver hatches. And so they're like,
doors? What the hell?
Yeah, they're fucking enormous too. Like it's
huge.
pretty cool. And so he like the drill instructor, I see him run down and he fucking like opens, he grabs the van door, and it's one of those old vans too, and he like slides it open like viciously, but he slid it so hard that it bounced back and closed in his face as he was like yelling at us.
Oh.
And then he opens it up and like sticks his head through, was like trying to yell at us, but like his neck got like caught on like the seatbelt and was like, it was just really awkward. And everyone was just like, so what are we doing here? And then the guy, like the drill instructor, like yelled at us, fucking got on the yellow footprints, and standing on yellow footprints, I was like, man, like in the videos, there's like me and like 100 other motherfuckers on this. Dude, it was me and like 4 other people. So like you're screaming, you can only hear yourself pretty much scream like at this point. And so I showed up pretty much late to boot camp. And then and because of that, I get sent to like the fucking like the shit platoon where it's like all waivers guys, like ASVAB waivers, like crime waivers, like all this shit, like tattoo waivers, like all in one fucking platoon, just a bunch of convicts. And yeah, dude, and that was like my first impression. But the moment I was like, fuck this shit, like I don't know why I did this, was when like, you know, you don't sleep like when you get there and they're just fucking with you all the time and you're like running around base grabbing a bunch of shit. Mine was like after they just shaved my head, like in my civvies, like they shaved my head in my civvies. And I was like, what the fuck? And then like I'm covered in my own hair, like scratchy.
Oh, I hated that so
fucking
much,
and it's like this was like in April. So, but it was South Carolina. So like it's starting to get humid. So it's sweaty and it's all sticking on you. And then like
I was there in March. I got there in March.
Yeah. And I was like in this fucking because you and I were like pretty close. Like you graduated, I think, like a week and a half before I did.
Yeah.
And I just remember standing there like covered in my own sweat, like wearing like a buttoned up shirt and jeans and some nice shoes, like covered in my hair and sweat, like holding out a fucking like laundry bag filled with like, you know, toiletries and stuff, like parallel to the deck and getting yelled at. I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into? I was like, this absolutely sucks. What about you, Aaron? What was your moment?
Mine was pretty normal. Like we all flew down. So like I had this nice flight down to sunny San Diego where I tried to get a drink on the plane. Didn't work out so well.
They're like, please pity me. I can't do this sober.
Oh, it was so close too. So close. So I think I have one connection, and you could like tell who all the police were because we had to wear like our police shirts.
Oh, you guys had to show up in your police shirts?
Yeah.
We were told.
No. We were supposed to fly. I don't know. Maybe it was dress shirts. I don't know.
Yeah, it had to be dress shirts because they were all about that. They're like, hey, like you have to wear like a fucking collared shirt. Like that was like the big deal. Did I know we were going to be running around and sweating in them and like sleeping in them for like the next 2 days? Like, nah, like I did not know that.
Oh, you guys slept in your civilian clothes?
Yeah, that first night, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Huge
the first night
there for San Diego then.
Where you sleep at the position of attention because they haven't taught you like to adjust yet. So I was like covered
what
in
the fuck?
shit, like sleeping at attention, dude. It was horrible, absolutely horrible.
Okay, so on the plane flight, right? And before this, I had actually shaved my head because like I didn't want to deal with like the scalping and shit. I saw the videos. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna get it one last haircut, just shave it all off. So I went in there with no hair already.
Oh wow, that's a pretty bold move.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
still probably put you in the chair though, right?
No. So
They didn't put you in the
okay,
chair?
This is part of my story. It's part of my story. So we end up landing right at San Diego Airport, and like the boot camp is right next to the airport. You can literally see it as planes are taking off.
Really?
Yeah. So like we went down to the USO, and in the USO you just see like these drill instructors walk up with their fucking campaign covers lower than like below their eyes, and it's night, so you can't see shit. And it just like I remember pressing the elevator button to go down to the USO, and there was one just right there. And he's like, "Get off the elevator right now! Go to USO! Screw it!" I'm like, "Geez, what the fuck am I doing? I'm so serious. I'm running in, checking at the USO, and then getting on this bus." And they're like, "Everybody heads down, this and that. Like, you cannot say shit. You can't do shit. Like, literally, just like sit down, head down." And I remember like they drove up to this building, right? And it was like they had like those old school like lamp posts, like they're posts, but they're like lamps, you know?
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
used to have like the hospitals and shit. And there's just yellow footprints like lined up across the floor, and there's like at least 150 of us, right, over across however many buses. And
What time of the year did you go?
I went in August, so
Ooh.
late summer.
I mean, it's dry heat out there, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
It sucked because it got cold. Desert gets cold.
Oh
At
yeah.
night.
Yeah.
All right. So after we get there, right, they take everybody and they give you like the cami bottoms, right, and a skivvy shirt, and we're all just walking around in. Well, first they take you to the barber shop in our cities, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they shave everybody's hair. And I got to the line, and the guy, he's got like this mustache that comes down to here, and everybody in San Diego that went to San Diego.
Oh,
knows
they
who the
know
fuck
they
I'm
have
talking
that
about.
guy. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like the fucking handlebar mustache dude.
Yeah, we don't have
And-
any like barbers like that at Paris Island. It was that one dude who did the uniforms, the fat fucking dude that did the uniforms.
Dude, I hate that motherfucker so much.
He looked
Yeah.
at me, right? And Mr. Handlebar, he looks at me and he's just like, "No, get him out of here. Get him the fuck out of here." And these are like the most rude civilians I've ever fucking met. It's like, dude, you're not in the fucking military. Like,
Oh
who
yeah.
the fuck are you?
I always was so taken aback by that. I was always
Yeah.
so taken aback about how like the civilians on base like get in on like the hazing. Like it's like
yeah.
like what the fuck? Like these are people that you look to like they're like okay, like they know what it's like to be normal, you know. I don't know what it's like to be normal again. Like I just need that kind of reassurance. I need that like affirmation that like hey, like you see the pain. Like this is I'm not imagining this. Like this pain is real, you know, kind of stuff.
They're probably like told like, hey, like you can't fucking like talk to them at all or be nice to them.
But like some of them like that one dude at the fucking at the uniform place, the fat dude, and then there was also a couple of barbers that were like they just and then who else? There's in some of like the chow hall staff. They like
Chow
like,
staff
real-
are dope.
yeah, but like most of them were, but there were a couple that were like really just into like taking shit out on you just because they could. And it was really kind of fucked up where like, okay, like you're a civilian, like you should be neutral. Like you shouldn't be like getting in on like the fucking verbal abuse, you know?
Yeah.
And like the
Well, we had
attitude and
one
shit.
guy- we had this one chick that like actually stood up for a recruit in line. Like he was going up, he was a fat body, he grabbed dessert, and the drill instructor just laid into. I'm talking like cut into this boy's soul. And the chick that had like given him the piece was like, "No, you don't do that here. Get out. Like you can do that out there, but you do not do that here." Like just going into this drill instructor, and we all like. I remember looking behind me. I was like,
Motherfucker lost
happening?
street cred.
"Is this happening?" Like.
He lost some street cred there.
Oh man, and he was the kill hat too, so like it was kind of like, what
Oh
the
yeah, he's
fuck?
the booter on the squad.
But like this guy's jacked. I'm talking like every single one of my instructors were over 6 foot, over 200 pounds of muscle, and it's just like I ain't fucking with any of these fools. Like, no thanks.
Yeah, I didn't.
Whatever you want, bro.
Yeah, and to go back on that, like how my experience was anticlimactic. I didn't do the Black Friday thing. I wasn't
Neither did
there.
we. Neither did we.
I wasn't fucking there. I was actually so we had just ran our IST, and I mean I ran it pretty well. Like I did pretty well. I did probably better than most of my platoon, and it just so happened like by that time, like after that, and then just the standing, like my body not being used to just standing for like fucking 18
Oh,
hours a
dude.
day. My ankles, both my ankles like swelled up like really, really bad. And the drill instructor was like, yo, you need to fucking go to medical. So sent me and like one other recruit to medical. Then they sent us into like the admin building, whatever they were at, and we were just sitting in some fucking room for like hours and hours and hours and hours. And this officer runs in, or like he steps in, because they basically told me like, hey, you're getting dropped. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, of course, my fucking luck. I get dropped over some bullshit, you know, in the first week. And this officer comes in, was like, hey, like, what are you guys fucking doing here? Because they just left us there. Like the drill instructor just like left us in this room. And like I was like, sir, like these recruits are apparently being dropped because of like this condition or whatever. And then he's like, well, did you guys pass your ISTs? And we're like, yes, sir. And he goes, well, then what the fuck? And he goes, and I just hear him tearing into the drill instructor that brought us, like getting into his ass. And the drill instructor walked in, was like, just grab your shit, let's go. And then brought us back to our platoon, our original platoon. And at that time, like the drill instructors already introduced themselves. Like they were just like, hey, touch the fucking bulkhead. Like, yeah, I didn't get any of that, dude. I'm so fucking butthurt, dude.
Dude, that's
so
shitty. Our platoon didn't do the Black Friday in the sense where like they throw everything around and just like, you know, go after you and like that's like, hey, motherfuckers, this is how it is.
Yeah.
They did do like the drill instructor like ceremony thing, but they're like, hey, like
when they introduce themselves, yeah.
We're gonna try something new. We're gonna treat you like men unless you give us a reason not to. And like it was weird. There was a weird kind of respect there, you know, like our platoon.
So it's a West Coast thing.
Yeah.
No, it was our platoon specifically, and like all the other West Coast platoons, like you hear like Black Friday.
Your stress cards.
Yeah,
get the fuck out of here. Stress card my ass.
So
dude, actually, Black Friday,
but we were on a platoon off that too. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there is something there.
Yeah, but when Chris was there, and then I got there like a couple days after, that kid killed himself. He jumped off third deck.
Yep.
And then that story came out too, where they threw that kid in the dryer. That was around the same time as well.
That one.
Yeah. So our drill instructors were under fucking microscopes after that. They still got away with a lot of shit, but
I was at the range the entire time, so I didn't have
Charlie Company. They don't. Yeah, they're fucking nobody comes to help them. They're just one company in the middle of fucking nowhere.
We were just getting fucked, man, just constantly. I know what an officer was doing like my second month of boot camp.
Sounded like our India company. Like our India company in boot camp, which is a company right ahead of Delta.
Yeah,
was literally that company. Like people here getting choked out left and right. Like
I mean, I feel like people say that. I feel like people in those companies say that about other companies. I feel that they're like, oh, like in that company, like they get fucked up.
No, but we
like,
would
more
see it because they were only like a week ahead of us. So we would see them in the other barracks that like during the grass week and stuff, and we'd be like, nope, fuck that.
And you guys go to Pendleton, right, for the range for grass week and stuff?
Yeah. I actually drive by it every now and then on my way up to Anaheim.
Wow. That's so weird. That's such a weird concept, how like you guys like you have boot camp on one base and then you have like your range on another.
I mean, it's not so different from what you were describing your range week.
Ours is just like it's just like a part of the base. It's just that part of the base that's a little
like the back part of the island.
Yeah, it's the back part of the island that's used just for like live fire ranges. Mm-hmm. So like, but there's barracks there that were like built like in like the 40s or 50s, I think. So the barracks there are like fucking old. Like when those are like the barracks they filmed. Was a Full Metal Jacket. Like it was those type barracks. And then, go in and they all have the fucking ghost stories and shit. They're like, oh, like there's fucking ghosts in those barracks, from recruits in the 70s that fucking killed themselves because they didn't want to go to Vietnam or some shit. Like all that fucking shit. Yeah. But oh my God. So quick, funny story. There was this dude at my recruiting station. I can't remember his fucking real name. I wouldn't even drop his real name if I remembered, but he was like this big fucking like yoked dude. Like he looked like a fucking, and he was athletic as hell. Like we played football and stuff, and he just looked like that dude was like a poster boy Marine. Like throw the fucking tight ass sleeves on that motherfucker, and I was like, that dude is like on the front page of like the Marine Corps Times. So apparently when he got the range week, he snapped mentally, like fucking cracked and was like, and they found him in like a fetal position, like fucking crying and shit, like rambling on about like whatnot, because they had just fucked with him for so long. Because they always fuck with like the big muscular dudes, like they always try to fucking like break them down. But yeah, they had just fucked with him so much that he like snapped, and yeah, he didn't make it. He got dropped. He left.
Damn.
So my old guide for the RS also got dropped. He like, again, Jack dude, like, holy shit, if anybody's gonna make it, it's gonna be this guy. And I remember when he came back, I was like, shit, if he can't make it, what chance do I have?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Do you
Yeah,
have
we-
those guys that like
screwed.
go in and when they first sit you down in boot camp and they're like, pull your heads down. Like, if you have any medical condition we find out about, you are going to jail.
Oh, dude.
That or like
back from that shit.
that or like we could test your piss up to 45 days. Like, no, the fuck you can't. But like I had a dude from my recruiting station that got kicked out because he said that he went to a concert and like it was at this place at this time, and then somebody gave him like marijuana. He didn't know what it was and smoked it and all this shit. And then they found out when they looked into it that there was no concert and whatever. So they didn't even bother to piss test him. They were just like, okay, like you fucking lied. Like you're gone. You gone. So he didn't even fucking make it through.
This fucking the dude that I rode the bus with to like Paris Island and like got on the footprints next to and shit.
Yeah.
He was like next to me like during like the first beginning days and shit at boot camp, and made us take the piss test and stuff. He ended up fucking like smoking pot before he fucking like went to boot camp like the day before or some shit. So like in the middle of the night, like a week later, they like just come in the night, cops come, they're in the fucking Charlie Company barracks, turn the fucking lights on, and like arrest him in handcuffs and like just take his ass out. Like, what the fuck is going on? We didn't know if like they just didn't tell us shit. They acted like nothing happened.
Dude, before SOI, we had like 6 or 7 people like pop for like cocaine or some shit, like as if they're not going to test you when you go to a new place. Like that was like, then so a lot of them showed up like a day early and they all got a hotel room and they were just doing a bunch of fucking blow, dude, like a full-blown like hotel party, like a goddamn R. Kelly music video. They were just getting down. And then like the next day, you show up, you check in, and then that following day they're like, okay, like everyone fucking pissing a cup. And then like all of them popped. Every single one of them popped, and like 7. One of them had like a dad who was like a fucking gunner or something. Like yeah. And so all of them got fucking shit canned. They all went to the brig, and they all spent some time in like that holding company until that got like other than honorably discharged. Fucking wild, dude.
Not
Those
even
people.
Dishonorable. Like, what do you have to do to get it dishonorable?
Oh,
Shoot
do you
someone?
basically? Well, you have to actually be convicted of like a fucking crazy crime. Like you actually have to shoot someone, like rape someone, like
It is something
Gun
bad,
traffic.
dude. Dishonorable discharge.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
you-
straight up
the
like
fucking-
rape, murder, pillage, like any of that kind of stuff. Like that's like dishonorably discharge.
Apparently, even dealing drugs doesn't give you a dishonorable discharge.
Nah, it's usually a general. That's crazy.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's fucking, it's crazy that you only get like an OTH, which you can always
turns
change.
into an honorable after what, 90 days?
I don't know. No, it's a lot longer than that. It's like years or something. But
No,
I never
thought
like
it was-
no, it's like a couple years it turns into
Oh,
an
okay.
honorable.
So general under honorable is different than just general.
No, an OTH like other than honorable. That's a general. I'm pretty sure it's a general type of discharge.
So
we might just
other
be
than
fucking this
honorable,
up
and
and
then there's
someone.
general.
Yeah,
right?
so he's like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, they're like, like how the fuck how do you not know that? Like, all right, bitch, like
Okay,
leave it
sorry,
in
man.
the comment section.
Email Lucas Moss, so I don't have to read it.
Yeah, did you guys even fucking serve like stolen valor? Like, how do you not know the difference?
Ooh. Hey, bro, he's got an American flag. He's got a guide on. They had to have served, right?
Yeah. So I think OTH, I think it's equivalent to like a general, because it's
Maybe.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't-
I don't feel like looking it up either.
I'm not
but
imagining. Okay.
but
I'm not gonna fucking
yeah, I
check
know.
out
Like,
something.
I'm pretty sure both of those you can upgrade. You can like appeal after a certain like time. So those guys who get like that, you're not really missing out on much, I mean, you don't get the benefits and stuff, which I guess is pretty dope. Like being like a veteran and like the VA, don't get me wrong, definitely needs work. but like at least my personal experience has not been bad with the VA, like really at all.
Dude, mine has been awful. Mine's been
I mean,
disastrous.
you're
Like,
also in California too, and I just feel like a VA in California is just like you're
Pretty
just getting
shit.
doubly fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
California
I
it's
sucks.
literally
Dirty.
scheduled an appointment 2 months ago, and I still will not be able to see someone in person for my primary care checkup until December.
damn. Yeah, but
Tommy for
fuck,
you.
dude.
So
Like
I
they
have
got
to-
me in quick. They took care of me quick. Yeah, it was pretty nice. And then the disability thing went fucking pretty swell as well. Yeah, I got that shit bumped up not too long ago.
You did?
Yeah, I'm at 60 now.
You're at 60? Oh, yeah. I'm in the process of getting my medical records because my dumb ass didn't get them. So I'm at 70 right now, but I'm trying to get it.
How do you
hopefully
leave
get
without
it
getting
done.
them?
What?
How do you leave without getting them?
I just didn't make copies, man.
Oh yeah, but they send that they send it to your VA.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought. They like literally send it to the location of where you said you were gonna be,
Yeah.
like the closest VA to you.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where they're at. That's why they said if you need it beforehand, you should make copies. I scanned all mine. I didn't make copies, but I scanned all my shit.
Shit,
I just had to
totally
send it to
VA.
my nearest fucking thing. I was like, okay, you
And
guys
I
got
didn't-
it? Yeah.
And I didn't never really need it. I didn't need any paperwork when I did my disability stuff. Like I didn't need my
I
files.
didn't either.
Yeah, you just claim it and then they do their own research. They like get in touch with like the VA and check out your records and whatnot. I mean, that's how they found out about my back. I mean, everyone claims their fucking back. Like it's like the hardest thing to prove that you don't have a problem with, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's also like the most common. It's like you have the savvy plate, and then you have your giant ass
Oh,
fucking pack, and it digs into your spine. You're like,
Like,
oh, I don't have any.
You
back
know,
problems."
you know when you
Bullshit.
can look at a picture and you can like feel the picture, like what you just said right now, like I could just feel like that fucking sappy plate like back on my back again. And especially when you're a fucking boot and you don't like you didn't know about that actual like secret sleeve in there where it like actually sits.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a boot and it's like sagging all the way
Low as
down,
fuck.
dude, and you have your fucking pack that you don't even know how to wear yet, and it's all fucked up with the straps hanging and like
It's
it's all
weighted.
crooked. It's not weighted.
correctly.
Oh, dude, it's so crazy to think that that was like me at one point. Like by like that moment, like that me compared to like about the EAS, like how skilled I was with all that shit is just like night and day, absolute night and day. But yeah, so you gotta claim your back, and nobody fucking it's like they basically just text like your flexibility or whatever, like
Yeah.
the degrees or whatnot.
Yeah, they put like a little fucking measure tape to you. like,
Yeah, and
so
I
much
actually
back.
so like after like my first hike in the fleet, we did like that fucking like 9-mile movement to contact. It was a fucking stupidest shit.
Yeah.
Like my back was like on fire and I was like, Jesus Christ, like my back hasn't hurt. And I broke my back like when I was in high school, like my junior year of high school, like playing football.
What are
And
you, Batman?
yeah, right.
at
Like the
that.
fucking Dark Knight Rises. This fucking nerd moment. But and so I knew I already had like back problems, but I felt like because I did physical therapy for about a year and like I worked out like 3 times a day for like a whole ass like year going into my senior year because they told me I'd never be able to play again. But I did. And I was like, well, what better way to treat your back than to join the military, you know? So like I knew I already had back problems, but like at that point when I was like my back I felt was like at my best, I was sitting at like probably like 190, like 185, 190 was like my weight. But like when I got out of boot camp, I was like at 160, 165.
Yeah, I was 162.
Yeah, so I was like hella light, and so like I guess like what like me losing that weight just really affected my back, and so like having like especially like 9 miles like movement, I was all my hikes I ever did leading up to that point I was like 100% fine. And then it just so some reason after that hike like my back just fucking hurt. Went in the medical, and I went in a couple times for my back. I went to BAS a couple times for my back because sometimes it was just like insane. And they told me, I shit you not, like word for word told me, oh yeah, try not to put any weight on it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I'm an RO in an infantry company. Like you're telling me not to put weight on my back. That's literally my fucking job. And And then so they all they did was then they found out I had acute scoliosis, and they're like, wow, like you have scoliosis, and like I guess MEPS didn't catch it. But like you're in now, so I guess it doesn't really fucking matter. So they sent me to 1 day of physical therapy, 1 day. And then the dude there, literally all I did was like a couple stretches, and then he cracked my back and then handed me like a packet that was like, here, like do these stretches. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
When was this? This was in Oki?
No, this was in Hawaii. This is probably, I'm pretty sure it's after our first deployment, was like when I went in, like that was like the last time I went in for my back. I was like, damn, like these motherfuckers, like they don't
I
care.
remember you telling me about having acute scoliosis.
Yeah. Okay,
so
and then
so messed up. Okay.
yeah, and then so they sent me to that 1 day physical therapy, told me not to put any weight on it. I was like, whatever. So
this is like right when we became friends.
Yeah.
Right before. Okay.
And so I go down for my disability stuff where I claim my back, and they're checking me out. And she goes, you were actually like supposed to get an MRI. And I was like, what? And she's like looking at my file. She's like, yeah, the doctor recommended you to get an MRI, but it was denied by whoever was above them. They didn't want to spend the money on you getting an MRI. And that was all in my file, and I had no fucking clue. Like nobody had ever told me that. She didn't even tell me like the Navy doctor that I saw. She didn't even tell me that like I was like that she was going to recommend me for an MRI. She just put it in the file, I guess. It was like, hey, like this motherfucker probably needs to get checked out. And then whoever was above her like shot it down. Was like, nope. And
the same doctor that we all had in the battalion.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, so I'm sitting like as a vet at that point, like hearing this shit, I'm like, these motherfuckers, like you're gonna go like you're literally denying someone medical help at that point. And it wasn't until like shortly after that is when they passed that like law that the doctors, like medical doctors in the military, can be sued now. Like they can be held accountable for like malpractice and shit. Yeah, dude, fuck that, dude. It was such a shitty experience. But
dude, she wrote on my thing. It was glass in the right eye does not cause any problem. No need for disability or whatever. I was like, this bitch, you fucked me.
They're trying to save a buck at the at the end there.
I was like, what do you mean?
Oh,
and
dude.
At that point, like I was reading my medical records at the VA in Michigan, so I was like, I can't even dispute this. I can't even like where
you could though. I think you still could. Because
like I still have 20/20 vision in my right eye, but I have above 20/20 vision in the other eye. So like obviously there was damage, right?
Yeah.
But it's still perfect. So it's like
I would say like it hurts or some shit, dude. Like just make sure that, I mean, they're notorious for like, if say, well, this hurts, like just throwing meds at you. Like the VA is notorious for like just throwing medication at vets. Which is I was very, very wary of like going and complaining about stuff, and I was like, man, I am not.
Do we lose Chris?
Yeah, I think so. He'll come back.
They always come back.
Yeah, he always comes. They always come back. I was very wary to talk about like any problems I was having, because I knew that they would just like try to force like medication down my throat. Like, yeah, not having that at all.
No.
But like other than that, like the overall experience was nice, because I remember going to bring it back to boot camp, like my knee like would lock up, and like I'd be like in severe pain. Like I remember we were doing like one of our first hikes, and my knee like locked up pretty bad, and like just like insane pain. I was like, oh my fucking God. I was like, I've never felt this like pain before. Like I was like, I don't even know what it is, because it happens every now and again. And Chris is like, can you see me or not? Oh, now he's back.
There we go.
There you go. Could you hear everything we were saying too?
Bro, I haven't heard a fucking thing yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you can hear shit now. But like my knee would lock up, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it turned out like I just wasn't stretching like my IT band or whatever. And I went to the like medical or whatever at fucking a recruit training for it. And dude, the physical trainer or whatever, like the dude who's like in charge of like, you know, he came and he would like speak to us like during McMap about like stretching and shit. He was total dick, absolutely fucking total dick. Like he said something like that was kind of funny, and I laughed, and he like fucking tore into me for laughing, and I was like, damn, you don't have to be like that, dude. Like save that shit for the drill instructors, you know?
Yeah.
Like ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah,
The
medical.
medical guys were always like the bros whenever we went there. They were like you know,
Yeah, because they're all
there was
Navy
there was-
guys. Navy
yeah,
has
there
a
was like a
chill
couple of
ass
them that
station.
were like assholes that were like trying to be drill instructors, I guess. And it's
Yeah.
like step off. There's a couple of them that were also like, okay, yeah, like I guess you like just chill, you'll be all right. We'll get you out of
Yeah,
here.
so some of them were cool. I had this one Navy doc that like had to draw blood from me and shit, and he came up to me like I sat down and shit. And he was like, "All right, which arm do you want?" I told my left arm. I was like, "Hey, my veins roll over easily, so like you might miss a few times." He's like, "Oh no, I always get
Was that
first
was that
try."
from all like the heroin use people
Yeah.
do in like Ohio? Like
Oh yeah, all of it. And I have
All the
fucking scars, bro.
training.
These nurses can't fucking get my veins, bro. And he fucking missed, dude. Like 3 times in a row on my
Yeah.
left side. Had to go on my right side.
pizza box.
For real, bro. I was like, you motherfucker, dude. Like, give me somebody else. He's like funny as shit though, so I didn't really bother me.
Yeah, there were some
YROs.
YROs.
Yeah, like why? Like out of all the MLS in the Marine Corps, why did you two choose the ROs?
So
Oh,
he was actually data, but
yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
I bet it's S6 still, all right.
but so my experience with that
Huh?
was when I told my dad that I was joining. After I went to the recruiter's office and I told my dad like, hey, I went to the recruiter's office today, like, and I was thinking about jobs. He told me, he was like, whatever you do, don't be a fucking grunt. And I was like, why not? Like, because in my head, I'm like, damn, that was like my first choice. Like, that's what I wanted
Right?
to do. I was like, all these other jobs, what the fuck? Who cares? You know, I want to be kicking doors down and shit. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, don't fucking do it. Don't do it. Do not do it. And I was like, fine, Dad, I'll give you that courtesy. I was like, I don't need your permission to join because I'm already 18, but like, I will give you that courtesy that I won't. So I went to the recruiter's office, and it was time for me to pick my job, my MOS, and I was like, hey, my dad said not to be a grunt. And one of my recruiters, I only had 2 recruiters in my station. It was a pretty small station. One was a grunt, and the other one was an RO. So the grunt was like, well, why the fuck not? He's like, oh, badass, blah blah blah. And I was like, I can't be a grunt, but give me the job closest to the grunts. And he just had this fucking, he just had this like evil smile, like come across his face, and he's like, radio operator. He's like, that's what I was. He's like, I could see you being one. And then the other recruiter who was like grunt, he was like, oh yeah, radio operator, yeah, for sure. And
Lucky
I was
to
like,
give you fucking motor T, dude.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, and that's why I was like, okay. So I looked at the radio operator thing, and I was like, I've always been kind of interested in that. Like, I wouldn't mind being the guy running around with like a radio on his back. Like, I get to do all the same shit that the grunts are doing. So why the fuck not? And yeah, so thankfully my dad talked me out of being a grunt, and I chose that route, and I was blessed. You know, I was lucky enough. You know, Chesty Puller, you know, was like, "Numerous Patris Filius Spiritus Sanctus," you know, and he was like, "You're gonna get a Victor unit, and you're gonna be in an infantry company for 3 years," and I was extremely blessed with that. But
I know. I think it was the busting of General Mattis, because General Mattis actually showed up to my graduation as the guest speaker. So
Oh.
it had to be
tight.
Mattis.
yeah, Chris. So Chris, why data?
So I didn't fucking choose to be data, but I'm actually glad I did. I got it. All right, so I'll put that out there. But no, I went to the recruiter's office, and obviously I went through blah. He asked me, "Want to join?" I said, "Yeah." And then I didn't like what I want to do. I said, "Okay, I want to be like medical, like a corpsman." He said, "That's Navy," and I was like, "Fuck."
Well, I guess I'm in the wrong office then. Peace.
Yeah. I was like, so he told me the Marines had no medical. I was like, that fucking sucks. And I was
Yeah,
like, well,
that was my first thing.
I
Yeah,
heard
I
that.
was
I was
like,
like, so what do we do with the wounded guys? Do we just do-
but then I was like, all right, what can I do that's like with the infantry? Because I want to get out and have a skill set when I got out of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And he's like, we started going through shit, and came down to communications, and he was like, "You can be a radio operator," and I was like, "That's fucking sick! You carry radio around and like just calling shit." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah." I was like, all right. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I signed I thought it was a radio operator. I thought it was
You signed an 06 open. It was an 06 XX contract.
06XX. I went in and I got a 128 on my GT score. So they threw me in the highest thing, which was fucking data. And I remember I remember going to MCT and them telling me 0651, and I'm like, no, 0621. He's like, nope. And I called my recruiter and I was like, what the fuck is an 0651? Like, hold on a second. He typed in. He's like, oh, that's still a really good job. I was like, I want to be a fucking radio operator, dude. But I remember I hated it, and I didn't want to be a data at all. Went through comm school, asked, and then when I was in comm school, I tried to get changed over to an RO. They would not let me, and I hated being data, and then I got to the fleet. And our first Bougainville, when I was like my first like couple weeks in the fleet, I walked into the AC tent. As I'm watching the ROs with the infantry doing buddy rushes across the fucking lava rocks, just like, fuck off! I'm going to here,
dude. Yeah,
I was like, all right.
When I got picked up, when I because it was 4 of us in my class, when we got the orders to Hawaii, and then like the 4 of us we bonded pretty well because we knew we were going to the same duty station. We're like, okay, like we're going together, like we need to look out for each other pretty much. Still, we're all pretty much very close to this day. And we always had, even when like we had other like boot drops, like those guys are still like not the core guys. We were my group was like the first boot drop for ROs. Yeah. And then when I got my orders and I said I was Hawaii, you messaged me on Facebook, said you were already there. And
no, you were there before me.
Was I?
Remember? Because I messaged you on Facebook when I found out I was going to Hawaii.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you showed up after. Yeah, but yeah. So we stuck together. We got there, so we traveled together. We get picked up at the airport by 2 sergeants. One is now a staff sergeant recruiter. I'm pretty sure he's still recruiting. I don't know. It's been a while. Probably not, but and then the other one, I'm pretty sure he picked up staff. I'll drop his name. Did Ferg pick up staff? So he picked up staff.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at or what he's doing now, but yeah, shout out to you, Ferg. Him and I can't remember. They're gonna crucify me for not remembering his name. But he was like this hot shot, like sergeant, like in comm, like fucking like him and like a couple other sergeants in comm at the time. Like they wrote like the Marine Corps handbook on HF frequency and like HF radios and stuff. So like when I get off the fucking plane, I'm like, loading up this SUV, and it's me and my other boots, my fellow boots, and you're like talking about how big deal like the comm shop is, like in 3-3, like how like there's a reputation and all this shit. And then one of them goes, oh, by the way, there's 2. He goes, I think there was 2. Yeah, he's like, there's 2 line company RO spots open, and we want to send a young guy. So who wants to do it? And I was like, me. Obviously, that's why I'm fucking here. So I volunteered, and then my one of my buddies volunteered as well, and he ended up going to Kilo Company, and I got India Company. But like, so I got assigned to India Company like very, very soon, like after I got there, and my NCO was in Corporal's course. Monty was in Corporal's course. Shout out to Monty, my first NCO. And he would visit like during chow when I was at, the comm shop, and in his fucking, how they had to wear like their chucks all the time, in his chucks, and just come just to fucking yell at me like during chow, like for no reason. Like where the fuck's my boot at? And like just go and just fucking like come over and yell at me for no reason. And then he go back to Corporal's course, and like I'm thinking to myself like, and then there was like Westcott. Oh my god, dude. So he was EASing very, very soon. Like he had like less than a month when we got there. So he was the one like checking us in because he had to check out also. And he was telling me, he was like, dude, He's like, corporals out of corporal's course are the fucking worst, man. He's like, they are gonna fuck with you so much because they're so motivated after getting back from corporal's course. And he's just like basically putting this like negative image in my head. And I was just like, oh no, like I'm in for a world of fucking pain, dude. World of pain. And it wasn't until that like first Saturday, and I get fucking boom, 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 knocked on my door like fucking 6 a.m. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it's a couple NCOs standing right there. And they're like, you grab your fucking roommate and grab your buddies. Let's go. And I'm like, what? So did that, went downstairs. They made us walk around the fucking barracks picking up leaves. And I was like, fuck this shit. I was like, I do not want any part of this anymore. Like I was like, this is what if this is what it's gonna be like for the rest of the time I'm here, like I don't know if I could do that.
All right, so my first day in the fleet for PT in the morning, we met fucking Corporal Baldwin. All right, shout out to fucking him. Picked up Sergeant and got out with Sergeant Baldwin.
Which there's two, wasn't there?
There was a Tech Baldwin and a Data Baldwin.
Oh, so Data Baldwin.
Lance.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. But all right, he was awesome. But he took me and Telez on a fucking run. Me and Telez came out of comm school like in really fucking good shape. Like we could just run for like fucking 5 miles perfectly fine, you know. And he took us running around the block, and like we got back to the barracks. Like took us like from the barracks up to the comm shop, back in the square, and back to the barracks. It's like a mile and a half. We get back. It's like, all right, see you guys later. Be at the shop. I mean, Josh like, good to go, Corporal.
Yeah,
like,
dude, Monty.
That's PT. Then we're fucking good.
Monty took the four of us, like after he got back from Corporal's course, came to an HNS formation just to grab us and PTS, and we ran the ponds. And like, oh man, like almost all of us fell out pretty much because it was just like the five of us, and I was like, fuck, dude. And I thought I left, 29 Palms in pretty good shape. And apparently not. But like I knew for a fact we did a pretty good job because he like ran the shit out of us and then got back, and I can hear him talking to the other NCOs. And they're like, one of the NCOs was like, dude, so how did I do? Like, did you fuck him up? Like, how'd they do? And then I heard Monty goes like, yeah, I fucked him up pretty bad. He's like, but they actually like kept up for the most part. Like they did a pretty decent job. And I was like, oh, okay, like we got to win. We got to win there. Like, at least we like showed up in shape. Cause I was like, I couldn't imagine what life would be like for me right now if I showed up out of shape. Like, and then Monty of all people, who's like, the dude runs like 19-minute 3 miles. And I was like, damn, like this is going to be the guy that's in charge of me. Like this, he's really like fit dude. Like he like almost perfect scores on his fucking his PFTs and CFTs. Like, and I was like, damn, that dude's gonna be the one in charge of me. And I was like, I don't want to do all that shit. Like, fuck that.
Dude, for us it was different. It was like, okay, we went to ITB, and in ITB we had the hikes, we had the ranges, so we were hiking everywhere, but we would never like work out. And our workout time would have been restricted to weekends. And it's like, dude, who the fuck wants to work out on the weekends? Like, we got to go to town and like blow all our cash somewhere.
Yeah, with your grunt style t-shirts and your jeans.
I didn't even figure out about grunt style
your
and
jeans
like
and your boots
until I hit Hawaii.
Your combat boots, bro. Wearing your dog tags out in town.
Back when we're like, we don't want anything to do with it. Yes, I'm still basically bald, but pretend I want to be this way.
Yeah.
And so like, like we didn't work out very much. So when we hit the fleet, right, like it had been an extra couple months of not working out, and we're just followed by death run after death run after death run. Like field ops were a break.
Mass runs. I remember that was like big when we got there.
I remember like every single muscle in my body was just screaming, and then they're like, oh, we're going on a field op. And then the field op, like, like you'd set up a PB and just chill there the whole day. You'd be like, thank God, this is my break time. This is my break time. You're rucking like all this fucking ungodly weight through the jungle, but at least my muscles have a chance to like recover a little bit. Eating MREs packed full of fucking calories and proteins and shit, and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. Then you get back to fucking death run after.
Dude, not Weapons Platoon, bro. Weapons Platoon India Company. Their NCOs fucked them up that first field op.
They were so bad that they actually got us on board. They were like, "Hey, we'll take your boots and we'll slay them," and they had us do gun drills for like I think a couple hours. And I was like, dude, I cannot imagine doing gun drills every fucking day for, like little years. Like, fuck that.
Yep.
No.
Yep, dude, they fucked them up. And I'm like, and then they fucked with me too. I was so butthurt. Dude, I spent like an hour setting up this fucking like HF antenna, right? So I had it like strung between two trees and like perfectly like on the azimuth towards like the COC, and it took me fucking forever to climb these trees and do this shit.
Such a nerd.
And then so you have like the two wires, and then you have like the coax cable that comes down that actually plugs into the radio. Yeah, I still remember this shit.
You're such a fucking nerd.
And then so yeah, exactly. I mean, it just drilled in my head forever. And so that's the one that you actually connect to the radio, and it wasn't obviously that's the last thing I do is like, the coax cable just hanging there, and I'll climb down and like plug in the radio and see if the antenna works, which I was almost positive it was going to. And the fucking Mortarman NCOs were there, and so the 0341 NCOs were there watching me do this whole thing, like basically like yelling at me the entire time, getting me to scream like back like I Corporal or whatever the fuck. And after I had just got done tying it up, and I was like, okay, like, bam, like this baby's gonna work. They grabbed the coax cable and just fucking yanked it, and it fell. Like it all came down. And I was just like, as a boot, like being like charged with like trying to get comm up basically. Because my fucking NCO was like off shooting his shit somewhere with some other guys. Like he said, hey, like, let's see what you got. Like, let's get comm up. And then like I worked so hard to get it done, and they just fucking tore it down, and then like yelled at me for it falling and shit. I was like, dude, I can't. Like that horrible time.
For me, it was that giant strip in Air Force Base. Like there's like that giant strip of land that's just like nothing but dirt. They would have us.
Where was this at?
So like there was like 3 different mount towns in like. Or maybe it was Bellows. It might have been Bellows.
Bellows, yeah. Bellows is with all the mount towns, yeah.
All the mount towns. I had just got bit by my first centipede in fucking Bellows. Centipedes in Hawaii, dude. This fucking big. Hurt like motherfuckers. And I know like the Air Force dudes, if they get bit by a fucking centipede, they go on like a 2-day fucking whatever. Like, oh my gosh, here, take your break. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just pull out the stress card.
For us, you get bit by a centipede. Oh, that fucking sucks. Keep going.
Dude.
Yeah, I remember one guy, he had centipedes in his gloves. He put them on. He just starts screaming. He takes them off, and his hands puff up to the size of fucking like giant ass fucking tangerines, dude.
Yeah, my hand swelled up pretty bad off a centipede. Actually, my first field op ever, the biggest boot fucking move ever, the biggest the biggest mistake I've ever made packing my gear, was that first field op, that first Bougainville. When I was a boot. Like literally like less than a month, like I'm in the fleet, like we get sent this thing, and I didn't pack a bivy sack. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the purpose of it. I was like, I'm not going to fucking use this. Like, I don't know what this thing does. Cause in like MCT and fucking in boot camp, like they don't give you a bivy sack.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what the purpose of it was.
They don't give you a bivy sack?
What's up?
Give you a bivy sack in boot camp?
No, not in boot camp, not in MCT, like no bivy sack.
Actually,
yeah, I don't think SOI had like bivy sacks either.
SOI
bivy
did
sacks,
for us.
Oh, wow, spoiled West Coast.
I mean,
West Coast.
It's kind of our gear set.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know what they're breeding over there, but
excellence and perfection.
Right.
Me.
I guess spoiled motherfuckers. Hollywood.
We have gear. Why not use it?
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what this thing is. I'm not going to pack it. And I see everyone climbing into it at night. I'm like, why are they doing that? And they're like, oh, it keeps all the bugs away from you. And I was like, how bad could these bugs really be? Oh, bro, I got fucked up that night, that first night. And it was like a week long. It was like a week and a half, I think, long field op. And so every night that night, I was just getting destroyed. Like I would wake up to like a centipede like crawling on my bare chest, and like it bit me on the back of the head. It bit me on my finger. My finger like swelled up. It was like a Wiz Khalifa joint. And then like, oh dude, and the mosquitoes. Oh, luckily there was one of the, who was it? It was another dude in the headquarters platoon that was he was one of those grunts that got moved to headquarters platoon because he was like pretty shitty, but kind of like Aaron, but so he taught me that like tobacco is like a natural like
repellent.
Repellent. And so like before I went to sleep, like he would take like dip and just fucking sprinkle around my shit.
The circle of dip was
the circle of dip, and it actually helped. Like it helped a lot. Like it was actually a pretty smart move. But like anything at that point would have helped, dude. Like I was getting absolutely destroyed, like total boot move. And that was the last field op I ever went to that I didn't pack my bivy bag.
Great NCOs, dude. They were all like, "Hey, forget the sleeping bag. It's Hawaii. Like you don't need it. Just take the bivy sack." And so I would just like literally sleep in an isomat and a bivy sack, and everything would be perfect.
But that's important. That's important though. Is like when we got there that we had good NCOs like looking out for us.
See, I had good NCOs and I had shit NCOs at the same exact fucking time. My first experience with the bivy sack was fucking Bougainville, and I am claustrophobic. All right, very fucking claustrophobic.
I didn't know that.
This motherfucker. Oh, I am, bro. I hate it. Dude.
Santa Claus here.
I zip this motherfucker up and I fall asleep. I wake up in the morning, I'm on my side, and I'm like, can't fucking breathe. I start freaking out
like a fucking horror movie.
No. And I'm like trying to freak out, trying to find this fucking zipper rope on my head and shit. I'm fucking, oh, dude. I'm about fucking to pull my K-bar out, bro. Just fucking open that shit. Never again.
God, dude. I forgot that first workup in deployment, we had to carry K-bars all the time.
Yeah, and make sure they were unrusted.
Himself in the foot with it.
Yeah, and he had to stay. They kept him out there. The dude literally fucking put one through his foot, and they kept him out there.
Made him stand like radio watching shit, right?
Yep.
Who is that? Okay, I remember the guy's name. I'm not gonna name drop him, but I remember some guy. He was messing around with the K-bar, right? And he ended up stabbing his thigh. No, he stabbed his thigh.
No, I know exactly who you're talking about. And that was it was a machete.
Okay, a machete, and he was so fat that they could barely get the tourniquet.
They couldn't get the tourniquet on his leg.
Him bleeding, and they were like, "Okay, guys, no more machetes," and like everyone was like, "Oh."
That was like that was their JWTC. They were given their JDubs like on their last deployment. They had a dude that like I guess everyone got machetes to like use out in the jungle, or I guess that's probably like the last time they ever gave it to him, but because we didn't get any like the couple times we went not. But yeah, he was creating a sheath for his machete, ironically, was like cutting up cardboard to make into a sheath, and like sliced through the cardboard and like sliced through his leg, like it was pretty deep gash, and like full blown like TCCC had to get kicked in, and like they just couldn't get the tourniquet on him because he was like one of those obese Marines, just one of those big bone guys.
Too. Like oh yeah, hey, if you're watching this, like bro, you're a dumbass. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think that dude, like he was out in the India company so early that I mean, I don't even think I have him like on any social media or anything. So if he ever found this podcast, like when he finds this podcast, that means that we made it, guys. You know, that's the odds.
It's when he finds it.
It's when he finds it. Like, dude, like these guys are shit talking you, man, calling you a dumbass.
I used to be like trying to fucking name drop like who this motherfucker. They got stabbed in the fucking leg.
Yeah, I wonder how many people actually know who we're talking about.
I think a lot of the OG India guys definitely know who. Yeah, OG India. They know who we're talking about. The guys who are like our seniors know exactly who we're talking about. Yeah, that was a fucking the whole gear SOP, bro. That's a whole episode. that whole experience under.
That's how I met Gunnar Paschuti. He and I actually still talk.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna drop some news that I hadn't told either of you yet. Your boy signed up for the OSO.
The what? Say again.
The OSO, the Officer Selection Program.
Oh shit.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You going Air Force?
No. No, like, okay, so prior to this decision, like being a Marine, like I cannot even imagine going to any other branch, right? Like it's repulsing. I'm sorry. Like
So
no
first is
offense to
Border
other-
Patrol. Well, no, first is
No,
Little
at the same time.
Caesars.
So I applied to both Border Patrol and the OSO just to get my foot in both doors. Haven't made any commitments yet, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, like,
You'll have to. You won't be a rolling vet anymore. You'll be like an active duty dickhead.
Yeah.
I'll be a fucking arrow.
But that you won't be a vet.
Going fucking dark side.
Yeah, going back to the dark side.
Is it really the dark
You
side if you're a
motherfucker.
fucking flight officer? Dude, flying multi-million-dollar jets.
You
that would
remember
never get
remember
your
that
hands
one
on?
arrow that we had that was
He was an asshole. He was an asshole.
I loved
that
it, dude.
bald
One-
dude.
No,
bald
not the
one?
ball dude.
Oh,
No,
the bigger dude. Dude, that guy was dope. The guy in
No.
ship, yeah?
no, not landfill.
The
Not
bald dude was a
landfill.
fucking prick.
No, not
The
the
bald dude
ball
was an
dude. It's the dude. Oh my
Both bald
god,
dudes.
I
There's
can't
two
fucking
air
remember his
bald
name.
dudes that were assholes.
He was our arrow on our second deployment.
Second, oh.
Yeah. I can't remember his fucking name, but he was hilarious. He was just the biggest. He was like the most disgruntled captain I ever met in my life.
I don't know.
Was he the one in ITX?
Yeah, he was with us in ITX.
Yeah, dude. I
Yeah.
remember that dude. He was just chilling, broing out.
Yeah,
talking about how
he was
fucked up shit
fucking
was.
super
That was-
dope. He was super dope, but he
was
hated,
some
absolutely
high-speed
hated the
shit,
Marine
too.
Corps. Yeah,
He was like a high-speed motherfucker.
he
like,
hated the
legit.
Marine Corps, dude. Like
Yeah.
he was a captain and an arrow. Like he flew. I think his landfill flew Cobras, I think. And I think he flew Hueys. I'm not 100% positive, but I know he flew a different form of aircraft than landfill did. But yeah, so he was extremely disgruntled and like would just talk shit on anything and everything Marine Corps and always talk about EASing and shit like that. I was like coming from an officer. And he was an officer, and you're going back to the dark side. That's gonna be you. That when you've had a taste of like the luxurious lifestyle.
Yeah,
like, out
no,
here.
I like
The grass is
constantly
definitely a little bit
remember
greener. I'm not gonna lie,
100%.
Yeah, it
Wow,
is.
the weeds
especially
greener,
when it's
too.
in my grinder.
No, so like I continuously like find myself like thinking about like, hey man, like it wouldn't be so bad, and then I realize like how much freedom we have here. I'm like, dude, like I'm gonna miss this, you know?
Yeah,
So like I mean, it's not like I'm like 100% like, yeah, let's do it, but like it's always been in the back of my head because I never wanted to enlist, right? I always
Yeah.
wanted a commission from the get-go.
yeah. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll be like, Chris. You might remember him, Terrell.
No,
Intel
don't wanna go
guy.
to the academy. I remember. I know who
S2.
Terrell is.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think.
I remember
S2
talking
Intel,
about-
blonde hair, tall.
Yeah, he's
kinda
at the
nerdy.
academy now. I live like 15 minutes from the academy. He's at the academy now.
Yeah, I would hate going to the academy. Actually, Lieutenant Colonel Reed talked me out of going to the academy.
We had what was his name? Hernandez went to the academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, big smile guy.
Yeah, he was. That dude was probably one of the dopest officers I think I ever met. He was
Yes.
really humbling, really humble, like really positive about everything. Had really great qualities in like being an officer, being in charge of troops. He came in as like a first lieutenant too, so he wasn't even a second. He wasn't even a butter bar. And he took over our weapons platoon, Aaron.
Yeah, did you? He's actually XO now.
Oh, is it? Well, yeah, he was training to
Or
be
is he still-
XO.
He's acting XO. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
he's
still
probably not
acting
XO anymore because I think they got back a couple months ago.
Did I ever tell you how I met him?
How you met Hernandez?
Yeah,
No,
I ran into him at BAH or BAS.
BAS
Yes,
when he was
at
like checking
BAS.
in.
Yeah, so he was checking in. He'd gotten the shot. And he's like, "Hey, you see that lieutenant over there?" And like, I see this fine looking chick, and I was like, "Yeah." It's like, go over there and call her a boot from me.
Oh
He's
my
like,
god, I do remember this
Just go over there
story.
and call her a boot. And I was like, huh? Like that's lieutenant.
Because she
Yeah,
was
yeah, no,
she was a
it'll be
lieutenant,
fine.
wasn't she? At
She
the
was a
time?
butter bar.
Yeah, she was a butter
bar.
bar because she
Yeah.
was our. I think she was Artie.
Yep.
Uh,
So I had gone like I think some kind of shot. I think my like third or fourth anthrax shot or whatever. And I was just shooting the shit with him. He was hella like just super chill. And he's like, yeah, I see the lieutenant up there. Yeah, go call her a boot. I'm like, Corporal Potter now. Like, huh? Like, excuse me, sir? He's like, yeah. Don't worry, it'll be fine. He said, call her a boot and tell her that this guy thinks she's really cute. I'm like, well, this is how I lose my night, you know. So this is before I even know like Lieutenant Hernandez is in India Company. Like,
yeah.
So like I walk over there, and I'm like, good morning, man. She's like, good morning. I'm like, so you're a boot. And
You're a boot.
and this gentleman over there thinks you have a great smile. And like, you know, I just turn around, and I see Hernandez with a giant fucking grin. I look at her, and she's smiling, like just got her head in her hands, and she walks up to him, and they make out. I'm like,
They make out. They
They
just
make
make out.
out.
BS.
they
The
know
fun-
each other.
The funky Porto music
We
starts.
walking
It's
out
like,
of, we walking out of BAS at this point.
the name
And I
tapes are
was like,
blurred out.
They know each other? Like, what the fuck? And yeah, he was like, that's my wife. I'm, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
no shit, boo.
And then I'm just like left alone, like, okay, well, I guess they're fucking married, and I guess it makes sense. They both look, cute together, whatever.
Yeah,
But
he was.
that's
He was
fucked
very,
up, man. I'm just
yeah.
like the middleman carrying all the mess like a fucking messenger and shit.
He was very solid, but like the best. I feel like the best officers were our Mustangs. Like Chris,
Yeah.
we had Captain Voss,
Oh, Captain Voss is the G.
and
Yeah,
that dude.
Captain Long.
Well, I'm not even going to touch that on this episode. That's a whole episode.
He was a good officer. He was a good officer.
He was good. He was just kind of a dick. Not gonna lie. Like he kind of like rubbed like a lot of people the wrong way, myself included. I think he just had like this arrogant like persona kind of going on.
Did you talk to him when he wasn't our CO? After?
No.
Yeah, completely different. Like when
Yeah,
he
I mean,
picked up
I would
Major,
assume
completely
so.
different.
Yeah, I would definitely assume so. Yeah, but like Captain Voss was fucking. He was a tanker and then became a commo, and like that dude was squared away. That dude was. I remember his
Yeah.
going away ceremony, and all that stuff. That dude was. It kind of worked out too because I had a staff sergeant in Bravo company at the schoolhouse, and like the Bravo company is like where you basically the company you're in if you're like going comm, and like they have a whole like a big ass like waiting platoon. And I was in the waiting platoon for quite a while, but and one of the staff sergeants that was like the staff NCO IC of like the waiting platoon. Him and I grew close because I worked in the office a lot, and he was like, "Hey, you're going to 3-3," and I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Dude, that was my first unit," and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking awesome." And he's like, telling me, he's like, "Dude, I wonder," he's like, "I wonder if Master Sergeant Butler is still there." And he's like, "If he's there, say hello for me." And I was like, "Okay." So like, a couple weeks go by, and then I'm there, and Captain Voss is like checking us in, giving us a whole speech, and I was like, "Is there a Master Sergeant Butler here?" And he was like, "Yeah, there actually is." And like the office is right next to him. And he like just threw me in the office, and he was like, "Oh, this." He's like, "This PFC wants to talk to you or some shit." And I'm standing there like at attention, like talking to Master Sergeant Butler. He's like, "Oh, go to fucking parade rest, relax." and I was like, "Oh, do you?" I was like, "Staff Sergeant Hutchison's says hello," and he's like, "Oh shit, he's a staff sergeant now!" Like, oh my fucking god! And he knew exactly who I was talking about, like right off the bat. Like that's just the kind of Marine he was. Master Sergeant Butler was fucking that dude.
He was solid. He was solid.
Yeah, that whole story. We will get into that story another time of him. Like him and First Sergeant Ray.
The PTA. I was
Yep.
there. I was literally right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the whole
you could.
fucking
I'd probably
episode.
my story is probably like my version is probably so twisted and diluted. Yours is probably like.
Yeah. Well, they both pulled me out to talk to me after it happened.
Yeah.
They tried to get me to like rat on him. And I was like, nah.
Okay, I can't wait to hear the story on the next
Yeah.
episode.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's gonna be good. Yeah, that one's like we can. So we talked about a lot of firsts here. We talked about what led us into the Marine Corps. We talked about our first impressions of the Marine Corps, our first experiences at boot camp, at SOY, at schoolhouse, in the unit. The big day of first. It's a big day for first episode. So
Marine Corps birthday.
yeah, and it's the Marine Corps birthday.
Devils.
Shout out
Happy-
Trinity.
Semper. Yeah, do you guys have any concluding thoughts?
Well, I'm just pumped to keep this going. Keep telling more stories, having people on. If anybody's listening to this episode, feel free to ask any questions. Give us a shout out. Let us know, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Aaron?
What thoughts putting me on the spot? Holy shit.
Yeah.
No, honestly, guys, like I'm looking forward to this. This is a really, really cool, like, new experience. Never been part of like a podcast or a group with like dope ass motherfuckers like this before. So I'm looking forward to the future episodes and just telling you like it really is. None of the bullshit, none of the fucking veil, and we'll see where it goes.
Uncensored.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll end it with, well, here we are. You stuck with us all the way to the end. We thank you for listening. We want our listeners to know that if your pack becomes too heavy, don't drop it. The Veterans Crisis Hotline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. If you'd like to enjoy more content, don't forget to subscribe, Semper Fi, and keep rolling on.
Hooray.